Studio mode. We're in studio mode here. What's up, guys? There's nobody. We're going to talk about brokers tonight. The horrible, mean, howdy. The mean, horrible, mean, evil brokers. You know who they are. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. As soon as we get a couple people in here, because everybody will say, "What'd you say? What'd you say?" And then I have to repeat myself, and that's never good. Nobody wants to hear that over and over and over. Oh man, what the heck? I hope everybody shows up tonight. That'd be fun for me. We got 8 people so far. Todd, good day. What's up, guys? I finally made it one of these famous streams. Hey, brother, what's up? Yeah, we're going to talk about brokers. We're going to get into it hard and heavy, hot and heavy. I'm trying to find out if we're on different places so far, and if everything's working because I switched some stuff today, and let's see here. I switched some stuff around with our broadcast stuff, and I don't know if it's working or not. So if it is, if it's coming through, then that's a good thing. But I don't know. Let's see if I made it one of these famous streams. Good day. And I don't know who's talking to me because it hasn't told me yet. So I'll have to figure that out. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Well, I'm in one group. Let's see. Jared Liebman. Jared, man, I haven't seen you in forever. I mean, been a while. So, brokers. Hi, guys. Got you on YouTube. Good deal. Hey, Michelle. What's up? Ain't talked to you in a blue moon. Don't even know what you're up yet. Anyway, we're going to talk about brokers because I'm tired of getting on social media and being told that, everybody's a thief and everybody's stealing. And I had one woman the other night. She said, I used to be a broker, and if you're one, you're stealing from the drivers. That's their money. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about brokers. I started out, my dad started my trucking company in 1963. And we went through a lot of changes over the years. A lot. And being much smarter than he was when I was in my 20s, I went to school. And then when I came back, I went off and did some stuff on my own. And when his health started to fail years later, I came back in and helped him, took over his company. And we were in the trucking business. The only brokers back then that we ever talked to was honestly C.H. Robinson, and the only reason and Johnson Brothers out in Phoenix. And the only reason we ever dealt with them was because we hauled produce. And back then, the brokers bought and sold the produce, and then doing the truck part was just kind of, hey, Jonathan, what's up? But doing the truck part was just kind of sort of a necessary evil for those guys. So that was pretty much our extent of it. I never really gave much thought to being a broker. And when Frank 3 got out of school and came to work, for us, well, actually, he started working for us when he was in high school. But when he finally got out and came to work for us full time, I was partners at that time with a guy that in the trucking business, and we owned trucks together, and he was a broker. And Frank was keenly interested in the brokerage thing. He wanted to know more about it. So he split his time working between, the trucking company and the brokerage company. And long. That was 25 years ago. Long story short, that's how we wound up in brokerage. I'm still in trucking. My heart is in trucking. I've been in trucking all my life. Okay. That's my love. That's, when I first got in trucks and started driving them, I hated them because I wanted to be, anything but a truck driver. I didn't want to be a truck driver. My dad had been a truck driver. My uncles, truck drivers. My cousins were truck drivers. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be a different guy. So, I started driving. I got married and I started driving to make a living. And, my thinking was, and back then, well, okay, I'll go drive for my dad for 2 years and then I'll have all this money. I'll just have money stacked up everywhere, and I'll be able to put a down payment on a home, and for us, and a decent car to drive, and I'll be able to do this and that I couldn't make that kind of money as a school teacher or some of the other jobs I did. So that was almost 40 years ago, and in that time between then and now, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the lifestyle. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the business itself. And, I started working more and more and more on it. And when my dad passed away, he had for several years prior to that kind of sort of moved away from the business more and more, just into retirement up in the mountains of North Carolina, where he was originally from. And so I took it over, and we grew it, and one thing led to another, and here we are now. So I've been a broker for a long time, uh, 28 years, and I started out doing the brokerage because all the companies around us, the companies that we hauled for, and the companies that we had contracts with, kept wanting more and more and more and more trucks. They were growing, they were booming and booming, and they wanted more and more trucks. And I got to a point that I didn't want to buy any more trucks. That's that was I was where I wanted to be. I talk about this a lot, and you guys know I had found my sweet spot with trucks, and I didn't want any more. And I would give away freight. Like I'd tell the girls in the dispatch office, look, if we got more loads than we can cover, give them to this guy or give them to that guy. And the other companies, around Nashville, and they gave me freight. They would call me up, hey Frank, you got anybody Thursday? I got one of these loads I need to get covered, and I don't have anybody. And managing trucks and drivers is a headache. It wasn't as much then as it is now, but yeah, it is. But anyway, uh, I've always been real keen on reducing liability. So one day, I just I got up and I went to work, and I said, you know what, we need to go ahead and get our brokerage authority and get some insurance, because if anything happens, we're jeopardizing everything else. And that was my thinking. And back then, it didn't cost anything. It cost like $12. You just sent a letter to DOT, and they added a B to your MC number. And there was no bond back then. There was no any of that. So, over the years, that changed and grew as people, the insurance companies, and the governments got more and more greedy. And of course, now we are where we are now. So that was kind of how I got into it. That was my entry into it, and nothing really makes me a whole lot madder, business wise or trucking wise, than to what's up, brother? What's up, man? Than to hear somebody say, "Yeah, these brokers are stealing from me." You know what? When I see something like that, I have a stock answer. It's been my answer for years and years, and I'll give it to you. You guys already know what it is. If you don't like brokers, don't use them. If you think they're stealing from you, don't do business with them. God knows, if I thought somebody was stealing from me, I wouldn't do business with them. I wouldn't do anything with them. Good evening. What's up, guys? I wouldn't talk to them. I wouldn't do business with them. If I go to a restaurant that I don't like, if the food's terrible, service is terrible, and the everything's expensive, I don't go back. I just don't go back. So my take with all these brilliant people on Facebook and YouTube and all that are hell bent on, the idea that because you're in the brokerage business, you're stealing from people. And I'm going to be the very, very first to tell you, and I'll put it in writing or do whatever you want to do. There are brokers out there that are thieves. There are. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of bullshit in this industry, especially right now. And there's some of the big box brokers out there. They're in business for one thing: to make the most money that they can make, whether you make any or not, whether you make a dime or not. Now, my business is a little different. All of my business is contract business, and like this next month, Frank has to go out to see the customer, and they'll set up all the rates for next year and all the contracts for next year, and we'll go again. This will make year 23 with that customer. We have a couple other smaller customers, but that's by far our biggest one, and that's how it works for us. So the carriers that we use are the same. We've got carriers that we've been using for 20 years, and they don't haul for anybody but us. And that's it. It's a dedicated thing. It's a contract thing. We do it every year. So it's not like I'm getting on DAT or Truck Stop and all these other services and posting loads out there and then trying to haggle with some broker or some dispatcher or some person. We don't do that. We don't do that. If I haven't even been on DAT in probably 2 years. I mean, I don't even know if my login works anymore. And the only time I ever get on is to look around and see what's going on in the industry. But I don't really have to do that. I talk to enough people that I pretty much get a good idea. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Most of the small, mid-sized brokers I know that have been around for any length of time are good people. They're straight people. They like to use like me, they like to use the same carriers all the time. It's called free market, and I don't care what any other business makes. I'm the captain of free market business, and no one's fault but the man in the mirror if you take cheap freight. That is absolutely correct. But to that point, okay, to that point, I don't put my stuff on DAT or any other load service because I don't want people I don't know. I sure keep an eye out for your loads. You're wasting your time. We don't put anything on DAT ever. All our stuff's contract. It goes out to our contract carriers at the end of the week. If we've got any loads left over, we'll shuffle the deck a little bit, and move some schedules around, and change stuff, and we make it work with the people that we have. And that's the way we want it. I don't want people I don't know hauling my customers' freight. I don't want them going in their office and making them mad, yelling at them or giving them ultimatums like these truck drivers these days like to do. I don't want them shitting in their parking lots or peeing, dumping piss bottles in their parking lots. I don't want them running over the shrubbery, coming and going, out of the driveway and shit. So I don't use those people. I don't want them around me. And I will tell you right now, if you're one of these people that, yeah, these brokers are stealing from me, do yourself a favor and don't ever call me. I don't need you. Now, it took me 40 years to get to the point where I could say that with a smile. I don't need you. I don't want you. I'm not going to load you anyway. So, good luck to you. The first thing you need, if you're going to be a broker, the first thing you need before anything else, and if you're a truck driver, you need to know this. And if you're a dispatcher, you need to know this. This is what we're going to do tonight. I'm not here to teach you how to be a broker. Shaggy does that better than I do. I'm here to teach you how brokerages work so that you can be more successful with them, especially right now when freight, the spot market is in the shitter like it is now. You need to know something. There's a couple of 100,000 trucks that are a result of these automotive strikes are out of work, and they're just hauling broker freight right now to keep their truck drivers busy and keep them employed. They don't care what the rates are. They don't care what the freight is. They don't care about any of that. If it's going from point A to point B and it gets their drivers a paycheck, that's all they're doing. I appreciate you guys too. Thank you for saying that. That's all they care about. But there's about 150, 200,000 trucks in the spot market right now because there's no automotive freight to haul. That's what they do, on contract. That's what they do year round, year round. That's what they've been doing for 30, 40, 50 years. but none of that's there. So you get inundated with those trucks into your spot market. Okay, 150,000 trucks that are usually not there. The other thing that's happening right now is produce season's coming to an end. So, so that's another 150, 200,000 trucks that'll go into the spot market and haul whatever's there for whatever rate just to keep fuel in their trucks, pay their insurance, and pay their drivers and keep their drivers from quitting. So you got a couple 100,000 trucks in the business right now competing on the spot market that usually aren't there. Hi, everyone. That's what you got right now. That's what you're dealing with right now. And everybody talks about, well, this economy's going to collapse and this is terrible and that's terrible. I haven't seen any of that. I don't see any of that. I do see 200,000 trucks in the spot market that are usually not there. I do see that. So that's huge, guys. The spot market really doesn't make up, as far as tonnage goes and total loads go per week, per month, per year. The spot market really is a very, very small part of that great big picture. And when you dump that many trucks into a small market, that's what you get. That's what happens. So brokers can pay anything they want to. They can do anything they want to do. They can say anything they want to say. They can be rude to you, disrespectful, all that stuff. Because there's more trucks right now than there is freight to haul. There's a shit ton of them. I mean, it's coming up on Christmas and we're not seeing anything. Well, you can thank the automotive industry and you can thank the produce business for dumping all these trucks into this industry right now. But let's talk about how to deal with a broker. If you're going to be a broker in this world, in this business, the very, 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 very first thing you need to have before you get anything else, before you do anything else, the first thing you've got to have is a customer. You've got to have a customer. You've got to have somebody that will give you loads, okay, that you can market out to trucking companies and sell. You've got to have that before you have anything else. Before you buy computers and software and get a building and hire people and do all those things that you have to do, the first thing you have to have is a customer. This is where that very first step, that very, very first idea, okay, this is where most of the dispatchers and truck drivers out there that like to say brokers are stealing from them miss the point. Because when I say, well, if you don't like brokers, don't use them. Go get your own customers. That's what I did. Go get your own. And they'll get mad at you. Well, I've only got one truck. I can't get a customer. Well, Deb Dingo's got 3 customers, and she's only got one truck. She can't keep up with what they give her. And we could spend a whole night, and I'd love to have her on here. January, February, March will be a stone cold killer if spot haulers don't have backing. That's correct. That is correct. So Deb Dingo's got 3 customers. Well, I can go down the list, but I use her because she's my friend and she's in our group. So I mention her all the time, and she is a smart person, and she's been around a long time. But if you're going to be a broker, the first thing you have to have is a customer. First thing. If you don't have a customer, you're not in business. You don't have anything to sell. You don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anything to offer. Truck driver, you don't have anything. Zero. You're not in business. So the first thing you've got to do is go out and get a customer. Now, there's all kinds of, the pandemic brought in so many that don't understand the market, or its cycles, seasonal tendencies. And there's that too, Todd, because I was just talking about the automotive industry. That doubled the amount of trucks that went into the spot market this time of year that normally do. So yeah, that creates a wave, just a tidal wave throughout the industry nationwide. I mean, 200,000 trucks. Think about it. 20 loads can create a ripple cross country. 150,000 trucks is a tidal wave. So yeah, that's cyclical, even though, it's kind of sort of self-induced. But sorry I'm late. My load needed some fixing. Hey, nobody will hold that against you. Anyway, first thing you got to have is a customer. Now, there's a whole lot of ideas out there about how you go about getting a customer. And to me, I'm old school. I'm an old guy. I'm all about relationships. The customers I've got, I've had for 20 plus years. I really don't go out uh, looking for customers because, as far as our business is concerned, our company is concerned, I've never really been a guy that just wanted to grow for the sake of growth. If it's good business, if the customers pay their bills on time and it's a good relationship and it works for me and it works for my carriers, then sure, I'm great. I'm glad to look at anything. If it doesn't meet that criteria for me, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to chase money. 20 years speaks volume. Thanks. Uh, if it doesn't meet our criteria as a company and the way we function, the way we operate, then they're probably not a candidate. Starting number one with their credit, and I say this all the time. Now I'm sure the owner operator that's out there with the Peterbilt and the 2-year-old trailer that he bought the year before last when spot market was booming that calls me a thief. I'm sure he already knows all this and he's prepared to go out and do it on his own, like I did. Get it? Like I did. But the way I like to get customers is I like to walk in the door and sit down and talk to them and ask them what they need and what I can help with. And the first thing I do if they show some interest is I check their credit. There's nobody more willing to give you a shit ton of freight the first time you ever see them than people with bad credit or don't pay their bills. You got to know that. Okay. So what this guy with this fancy truck and brokers suck, we want transparency. You wouldn't know what transparency was if it was pissing on your leg because you don't know what it takes to develop a rate structure for these customers. You don't have any idea. Automotive did that their shutdowns like July shutdown, November, December. Yeah, they do. But they take their vacations on the July shutdown, so they don't put half as many trucks into the spot market. Yeah, I've been doing this a while. What these people want me to do is they want me to go out and get a customer for them because they either don't know how, they're either too stupid, they don't know how, they don't have any confidence, or whatever the reason is. I don't know. I don't care. It's none of my business. But they want me to go out and get a customer. They want me to book loads for them. They want me to give them these loads and dispatch their truck and keep up with where the truck is and make sure they deliver on time and make sure. And then the minute they get paid, they get empty, they want me to pay them just that minute. About 30 to 35% of the people that call us on spot freight, like I said, I don't have any, don't want to mess with that game. But back when we were doing some, about 30 to 35% of those people wanted me to give them a fuel advance when they picked the load up. So basically what they want me to do is they want me to be their salesperson. They want me to go out and get their loads for them, structure my rates with these customers, put it together so that I can pay them a rate that makes them money and me some money, dispatch their trucks, do all that work, get them loaded, get them empty, tell them where they're going, tell them what they're doing, do all that. And then the second they get empty, they want me to pay them, whether I get paid for 30 days or 45 days or not. They don't care. That's not their problem because I'm a broker, right? I'm supposed to pay them the minute they get empty. So basically what these people want me to do is they want me to be their sales department, their dispatch service, and they want me to finance their operation for them. And they want me to have to tell them exactly what I got in a load and exactly what my expenses are. Here's a question for you. What if I want to know what your expenses are? What if I want to know what it costs you to operate that truck? And then I give you, well, let's say 5%. Let's say we do that. Let's flip that around. Because I'm going to tell you something. If they get what they're looking for, these crybabies, these entitled sons of bitches that think people are supposed to work for nothing for them, if they get what they're looking for, that's next. Don't worry too much because once this thing hits the books, there's going to be so many lawsuits floating around for years to come. It'll never be law. But if it ever is, the next thing that'll happen is we want to know what you're charging. And if you're driving a 1978 Peterbilt that breaks down every 2 weeks, so the brakes are no good on it, and it gets 4 miles to the gallon on a good day, and it costs you $2 a mile or more to operate, who's going to fucking load you? Who wants you? I mean, I've been in this business all my life. Okay, I love trucks. I love the people that are in them. I love the whole thing. I love everything about it. Okay, but it's gotten to a point now, and I think it's indicative of the way our country's going, not just this industry, where people really expect something for nothing, and that's not ever going to happen with me. That I'm never going to get up in the morning and turn on the lights and this building that we have, these people that we employ. And by the way, we haven't hired a new person in probably 8, 9 years. We've got the same people we've had for years and years and years. You know, I've seen them raise their families. I've seen them go through good times and bad times. Um, you know, we've got that. We've got all the systems that we have to buy. That was not cheap. And then all the different uh, programs that we have to use. We have to pay a shit ton of taxes because we don't run assets. So whatever profit we do make is subject to about a 35 to 40% tax rate. So we got to pay that too. And we got to, above all else, like I said in the very, very, very beginning, above all else, we have to have a customer and we have to keep that customer happy and we have to provide good service for that customer. We have to do all those things. But these people out there, hey, broker, you spend for me. You stupid son of a bitch, go get your own freight because you're never going to haul mine. I don't care. I don't give a shit. So that's the first thing you have to have. Then you have to have people that are capable and knowledgeable in the business to book the loads. Okay. The first thing you have to do with a customer is do your rates. Let me throw something in here. Did you know that the big mega carriers have a very, very complicated process for structuring their rates? They will go into a company, let's say Walmart. Let's use Walmart for an example. They will go into Walmart and they'll take a look at all their lanes, all their freight lanes, and there are thousands of them. Walmart has thousands of freight lanes, pages and pages and pages and pages. And the first thing they do when they see these rate lanes is they go through it and they cull out all the lanes they don't want, that don't fit their operation, that don't fit how they run their trucks profitably. They cull them all out. And that's going to be, in the case of Walmart, probably 2/3 or more, even if you're a big carrier, that they're going to cull out. They're going to cut them out and say, yeah, don't want them, don't want them, don't want them. We don't do those lanes. We don't do those lanes. We don't send our trucks there. We don't do this. We don't do that. The biggest reason for that is because they don't have inbound freight coming back or putting them back into an established freight lane. So that brings us to the next point of how they do rates. They structure their rates so that it takes their truck from point A to point B and it's very close to their next load and take that truck from B back to A. That's what they try to do. That's what keeps drivers happy. That's what keeps the truck profitable. Less deadhead, better fuel economy, better everything, less downtime, So that's how they put it all together. Guys keep begging for government to help them. In fact, since government got involved in Haiti today, as a result of that, we need less government, more businessmen and women. You'll get no argument from me. I've never seen anything improved by more regulation. Never. So there you go. Anyway, that's how the big companies structure their rates. So then they plug them into the customer systems. They plug them in. Okay? Plug these rates in. What that system does is every time, 100% of the time, when they've got a load going from point A to point B, that system selects the cheapest carrier in that lane. Number one. And it tenders that freight. It's not even a person, it's a computer. It tenders that load to that carrier. That carrier, once that load is tendered, has usually somewhere between 12 and 24 hours to respond to that load. And by respond, they either have to accept it, at which time they take responsibility for that load, or they have to reject it. And it goes back into their system, and then the computer finds the next cheapest carrier. And they go and go. How many times have you guys heard me say, you don't want to be the first call carrier, ever. You don't ever want to set your rates up so you're the cheapest guy, because the cheapest guy never picks the loads up. And if you do that, you're leaving money on the table. But that's how this thing is set up with these big carriers. I know a little bit about this because I was on a team at Walmart many years ago. I was on a team that put the system in place that they use now. was one of 3 guys that did that. That's how I know these things. Okay. So this is one of the times when I was much smarter than my dad out working for somebody else. Anyway, that's how it works. So if you're a broker and you're sitting on the outside looking at the freight lanes that are available to you are not the freight lanes that the big carriers are hauling. You almost never compete with those guys. I know that everybody likes to blame everybody else and, well, it's this guy's fault and it's that guy's fault and it's this guy's fault. Most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, you're not competing in those same lanes. So you have to be able to rate those lanes and put rates in there that are, number one, at least competitive enough to get an offer for them to offer you some loads, but that are profitable enough for you to make a little money and for the carrier to be able to haul it. So it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. It's a complicated process. It's one I've been through a million times, and I could send you guys. I could email all these rate proposals that I've done for people over the years, and it would boggle your mind. It is. You can spend at the level we've been at for many, many years. You can spend all of your time doing rates for people. I think most company driver types that bought trucks and don't have the slightest clue how logistics works, DAT board is basically Craigslist for freight, if that. I got kind of a hard on at DAT and Truck Stop right now because they know that this fraud is going on and they don't do anything to stop it. And when asked about it, their response is, yeah, we're not cops. It's not our job to manage that. That's their response. We got a lot of people out there that make decisions all day, every day that hurt the business, that hurt the industry. We got a lot of people out there that do that. A lot. So if you want to be a broker, first of all, you got to have customers. And then when you get them, you got to know how to rate the freight, rate the lanes so that you get some freight to haul, so that they give you some. 1 customer or 30 customers. You still got to do it. Okay. Then when you get those tenders, then you have to match those up with carriers that can and will run in those lanes. A lot of people just use DAT and Truck Stop and all these other load boards. I've already told you how I hate those things and I'm not going to use them and don't want to use them. So, Frank's method is if he doesn't have a carrier to do it, then until he finds one or builds one, he doesn't want to do it. Too much at risk. Okay. Then you have to do all that. Then you have to build the customer. You have to get your money, and then you have to go to the bank, and you have to pay. Most carriers now, 90% of them want quick pay. They want to get paid the minute they get empty. So you have to have a method to transfer them that money, and keep that money. So I have to have enough money in the bank all day, every day to pay everybody, whether I get paid or not. And then I'll have to wait 30 to 45 days, depending on the customer, to get my money. So when I see some idiot, some illiterate fucking moron on social media going, yeah, mortgage is stealing from me, go get your own freight, you piece of shit, and do it yourself. Go for it. Do it yourself. Nobody's going to give you an advance. Customers don't do that. A lot of customers will not do business with you if you factor your invoices. A lot of them won't. The biggest customers will not factor your invoices. They don't want to do it. They don't have quick pay. They don't have any such thing as that. You either, they will tell you, it'll be in your contract when you sign up with them, what their average days to pay are. Typically, it's 30 on receipt of invoice, which means you've got to send the invoice to them either electronically or in the mail. It's almost all electronic now. You got to send them the invoice. They have to acknowledge the invoice. Somebody somewhere has to receive that invoice into their system. That might take another day or 2 or 3, whatever, Then it goes in their system. And from that point, they owe you that money in 30 days from there. So once the truck gets empty and you're able to provide a bill of lading and you're able to bill that customer for that shipment, you're talking about probably a week or so before you can even bill them. And then once you bill them, the receipt time and the turnaround time on that billing's anywhere from 3 to 10 days. It depends on the customer. But then at that point, they agree to pay you in 30 days from that point. Load's already 40 days delivered. It's already been delivered for 40. You with me? But then you get Joe Hot Rod. Yeah, we want to eat broker with me, transparent. They're stealing from me. I'm going to put all my cost on my invoices when that happens. All of it, every bit of it, even when I go, take a plane ride out to see my customers, I'm going to charge that on there. My motel rooms, my dinner, when I take them out to dinner, when I do all that, I'm going to put all that on there. My building, all that. Oh, gee, it's a motherfucker today. Yeah, you should be here doing this, not me. And you know this. That's Frank 3, by the way. Anyway, that's what people expect. But we're the thieves. We're the ones that are stealing from them. How do you feel about these brokers taking so much money? Go get your own freight. Then you don't have to worry about it ever. Of course, you're going to have to finance your own business because customers won't do that. You as a broker need a return on your cost of capital. Money is not free. It absolutely is not free, especially right now. It is not free. It is not free. Another thing, Todd, why would anybody that's got money in the bank, let's say you're a guy with some money in the bank, a little bit of money. Let's say you got 200 grand in the bank. Okay. Why would a guy with $200,000 invest in trucking, which typically pays between 7 and 10%? That's if you do everything right. That's if you're really good at it. Between 7 and 10% after all your bills are paid. Why would that guy invest in trucking that pays 7 to 10% when they can buy a Prudential base account? And mine's been yielding me 16% for years. And I don't get any phone calls at night telling me I'm a lying son of a bitch and I'm a thief and I'm stealing. Nobody from Prudential base ever calls me. In fact, if you call them after 5:01, you won't even get anybody on the phone. Sparky say, no one has ever held a gun to my head to make me haul shit. That's another point. If you don't like the broker and you don't like the load, you don't have to do it. There's nothing in the world that says you have to do it. I have never. Now, I would like to, Sparky. I would like to, for like 2 weeks, I would like to be able to force trucks to take my loads for 2 weeks just to see what that's like. In the years I've been doing this, I've never, ever forced a truck to take a load. Not one. So the brokers get paid last. Yeah. Yeah. There's some brokers out there now that factor their invoices, but there aren't very many customers that'll let you do that. Brokers will let you do that. They'll let you factor because that's the only way they can keep going because most of the people hauling for them are broke. Okay. Brokers will let you factor. Some of the companies that have 3PLs attached to them will let you go through their 3PL and factor. But most companies will not bill a third party. They won't do it. They won't do it. And there's a couple reasons for that. Let's get into that real lightly, okay? There's a couple reasons for that. The first one is they don't want to do business with a company that's broke. The companies that I do business with, especially my biggest customer, every couple of years they'll ask me for a financial statement just to make sure I'm solid. And if my financial statement doesn't look right, I'm gone. I'm gone. So, most of the big companies want to know how many trucks you got. They want to know, what your financials are. They want to know if you're paying your bills because what they don't want to happen is they don't want you to haul a bunch of their freight and then stiff everybody and not pay everybody and them wind up going to court and paying for that for you. So they won't do business with you if you're broke. They don't want to. They're not going to. Would you? Would you do business with somebody that's broke knowingly? No, you wouldn't. So I wanted to talk about broker training. I want to talk about that because if anybody here is interested in becoming a broker, and like Shaggy always likes to say, diversify your business, grow it, change your business and add that to your portfolio of brokerage, then those are the things that you need. It's easy enough to float your business 30 to 45 days when you have good customers who pay on time. Not for everybody. I get it. I'm with you on that. Yeah. You should be able to, if you're in the trucking business, you should be able to cash flow your company for at least 60 days and probably 90. Think about it. Tires, fuel, maintenance, driver pay, insurance, taxes. That's due, that's due every quarter. That comes out. We pay them monthly. It's just a direct drain. They just tap into our bank account and take it monthly. Most don't understand how money works. It takes a little work to get educated. As sad as the education is available now more than ever. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm talking about. And I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope it's helpful in some way. I hope you share it around and tell people. And if they go, yeah, I got Frank on there, we don't like him because he said fuck you. Well, fuck you too. How's that? I'm not here to recruit anybody. I'm not selling anything. I don't have anything for sale. I mean, I got a couple of trucks for sale, but I'm not here to sell anybody on the idea of being a broker or anything else. Not interested. I don't have any cool little mugs, or I don't even have hats. Oh, shit. I don't have any of that. I don't have any merch. Maybe my following is so small. I have trouble keeping t-shirts on myself. Anyway, that's what it takes to be a broker. That's what's involved in being a broker. That's what these people on social media. Oh, come on, Frank. Rhonda, you don't call, you don't write. I mean, you stop in here like once a year and tease me, and then you just go away. I don't even know where you went. I don't get it. Anyway, that's what it takes to be a broker. That's what it takes to be a broker. And these people that get on here and you don't have any TQL swag, do you, co-broker Frank? No, I don't co-broker. No, I never have. The only time I ever co-brokered, we had a relationship many years ago, a long time ago, 24 years ago, with Dollar General stores, doing some of their inbound freight to their distribution center here in Nashville and Scottsville, Kentucky. We had a deal with them going, and I had to co-broker that because at that time they had a contract with a big carrier, so you had to go through them to be assigned loads and to bill them. Other than that, no. And companies do have 3PLs. A lot of them do. Most of them do now. But companies do have 3PLs, and they're going to require that you go through them because I be hustling. I admire that, and you know this. Jeffrey, sleep monkeys are getting all over me. Frank, I got to bow out. Good night, everyone. Good night, Jeff. Thanks for stopping, man. I'm about done. I'm going to wind this up. But that's what it takes to do this. Okay? So you put this out there, you share it around, and two out of three of the truck drivers are still go, yeah, that guy's full of shit. He's just another broker. He's lying. I don't want transparency and that stuff. It need to pay me $4 because they're stupid. I can't help that. I've looked for many, many, many years for a cure for stupid. I haven't found it yet. If any of you do, please send it to me, and I will pay you for it. I don't know what to do with these people. But I wanted to make it clear what we do and how we do it and how we've been doing it for years. I don't factor anything. I never have. Back when I started, there wasn't any such thing. I remember when the first guy called my office, and he was with some bank down in Memphis, and he wanted to buy my invoices, and he had this big deal that he was going to pay me this much and blah blah blah. He'd do all my billing and all that stuff. And the first thing that hit me was that at that point, and this happens today, and people don't even know it. At that point, my customers that I've been working my ass off to find and keep all those years suddenly became their customer. Not happening. So I thanked them and told them bye. Now, when I say that, I don't know if Shane Ferris is here because I can't see who's on here and who's not. But when you make that decision to do that, that's stupid. Open a different line. I don't think that's stupid. Anyway, what happens is if you don't factor, if you can find another way to cash flow your business, even if that means that you take fewer loads and grow organically until you cash flow, which is what we did. That's what we did. That's how we did it. We grew to where we are. We didn't start out big. We started it out and we grew it very slowly. I did not take any money out of my trucking company to support my brokerage ever. Wasn't about to do that. When we first started, I didn't have any confidence in it. Frank kept saying, Dad, we need to do this. We need to do this. He was right. So that's what it takes to be a broker. That's what it takes. When these people insult me online or question my integrity or something like that, the NOOA is demanding the brokers to pay a minimum of $3.75 a mile. They lost their minds a long time ago. They are fighting all the wrong things. Yeah, I don't care what their demand is. Go to my customers and tell them that, and they'll laugh in your face. They'll laugh in your face. We can get into this government stuff, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, Federal DOT, all these groups that have their big, got to be a hustler, period. Sparky said about a year ago, we were talking on the phone one day. We do that sometimes. He'll be driving along in his truck, and I'll be driving along, and we just call each other and talk on the phone. And this is about a year ago. He said, you know something, man? He said, there's some clouds on the horizon. He said, I'm going to tell you, man. He said, I'm really afraid that a lot of these guys, if they're not already in a groove, if they're not already doing something steady and it's working for them, hell, it might be too late. That was a year ago that he told me that. And he was dead on the money. Dead on the money. So when the auto industry comes back up, when those people go back to work, if they ever do, when that comes back up and they go back to work, things will open up. It'll take a couple weeks for that big machine to get going again. But once it does, things will kind of open up. First of the year, some new industry, this and that, things will kind of open up. And the spot market, as small as it is, as little as I give a shit about it, I really don't. I don't care about the spot market. I really don't. I don't care what the spot market does. As small as that is, with that junk freight and those junky ass little brokers out there, making their dollar, skimming their dollar. As small as that is, I don't give a shit if it all goes away. I don't care. But a lot of people have got the idea that you buy a truck, you buy a trailer, you get some insurance, you put your savings on the line, you put your home on the line. I had a guy here in Nashville. He went out and bought 5 brand spanking new trucks and 7 brand new trailers. He lost everything. He lost his home, his wife, and 3 kids. Last I heard, it's been a while, were living in an apartment. He lost his home. He had a nice home. Lost his cars and trucks. He lost everything he had. He didn't have a clue what he was doing. And I kind of knew the guy a little bit. And I told Frank then, I said, this guy's digging a hell of a hole. Man, I don't see how you get out of that. He didn't get out of it. So that's what it takes to do this work. That's what it takes to be in this business. There are brokers out there now that are factoring invoices to the bank. If they've got a customer that'll let them do it, fine and dandy. It tends to be the kind of, if a customer will let you factor their invoices, those tend to be really, really, really flaky, people that you may or may not want to do any business with. So, as is always the case, I only speak for myself. These are my opinions, nobody else's. I'm not here to, denigrate anybody or talk bad about anybody or any of that stuff. That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is this group, these people that are in this group have worked their asses off for a long time. And I'm here to try to help and make it a little bit better. That's it. That's my only goal. I got my vaccine yesterday. I feel like shit. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to cover tonight. What it takes to do it. You got to have a customer. You got to set up your rates in all your lanes. You got to submit them. When you get it back, typically most customers now make you submit 3 times because they want you to keep taking it down. I don't do that. Once I put my rates in there, those are my rates. My customers already know that. They don't even call me on the phone. Hey, Frank, we're going through round 2. Well, good luck. Have fun. I'm going fishing. You submit all your rates, and then when they start tendering you those loads, then you have to have the carriers to haul those loads in such a way that they won't piss your customer off, damage the freight, tear up your equipment, because most of my carriers use my trailers. So you got to have people that'll do that. Even if you're just brokering on the spot market, you've got to be able to do those things. Then you do your billing, then you do your collections, then you pay all your carriers, or pay yourself back for the carriers you already paid. which is most of them. You got to be able to do all that, and then the next morning that whole cycle starts over again. How many people? How many people is that? Shaggy's on. I ain't talking right now. Crazy. How many people is that? It's 5 people. That's 5 different hats you have to wear if you're going to do that. Yeah. 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 Spaghetti. Anyway, that's what it takes to do it. That's what you're getting into if you want to do it. Anybody that you see on social media, do me a favor, correct them. Say, dude, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. You don't have a clue. And yeah, TQL and XPO and all those guys, shit, yeah, they're going to skin you out of your money. They don't care. They don't care if you live or die. They don't care if you make a living or not. They don't give a shit. They're in business to make as much money as possible, and they don't care if you do or not. So if you're going to be in the business and you're going to haul that kind of freight, I suggest you use smaller brokers. I suggest you use small and mid-sized brokers because those people have been in business for a long time and they have integrity. If you ever use a broker with an MC number less than a year old, you're a fool. They're going to steal your money. Get it? How many companies have we seen in the last 30 days that have been in business for years and years? Just go under. You think any of those carriers got paid? Nah. You think their bond will pay any of them? I've never seen a bond pay anything. Ever. I filed on a couple of them. It's a joke. I just bill the customer. Go ahead and fight it out with them. So that's what it takes to be in this business. Then you got to learn. And Shaggy's much better at teaching people how to be a broker than I am. He's got this thing that he took him years to put it together and structure it, so that he can actually teach people how to be a broker. I'm not that guy. I don't have that much patience. But anybody's welcome in my office anytime. Anybody. Anyway, that's it. Brokerage training, how to be a broker, what you have to go through to be a broker. If you want to play the spot market and you're going to negotiate with brokers, here's a good tip for you. Brokers typically operate between 10 and 15% margin. I don't care what people on Facebook tell you. On my way. I don't care what they tell you. That's the normal margin, between 10 and 15%. So when they put a load out there, they'll shoot low, just like a car salesman. They'll shoot high, trying to get you to bait in and do it for nothing. Take a look at the rate, because rates don't ever change much, guys. They haven't in years and years and years. They're pretty much the same as they were 10 years ago. Take a look at the lane, figure out what your rate needs to be to make a profit, and tell them your rate. And if they say, I ain't paying that, hang up the phone. Go to the next guy. They'll call you. They'll call you back. Anyway, Tuesday night, try to help somebody. Try to be good to somebody. We're all we got. There's nobody coming over the hill to help us. If anything happens, it's just us. It's just us. Nobody's going to bail us out. Nobody's going to make us whole. Nobody's going to save us from the dragons. Just us. So try to help somebody and have a great week and be safe and be good and take really good care of each other. And next week we'll talk about rates, because that's really important. How to structure rates. And in order to do that, you need to know how your competition structures rates. If you're going to play football, you got to know the game. Okay? Todd, thanks for coming. Michelle, I love you, babe. I haven't heard from you in weeks, but there you are. Thank you. Everybody else that's on here, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate the people in this group way more than you know. Way more than you know. And everybody have a great week. Have a good time. Be safe. And try to make a buck and quit saying bad things about people. Damn. See you.